Look at him. Who do you reckon he looks like? It is life or death in the sense that it's people's jobs, but the sort of banter and that sort of thing is literally the best thing about footy is that you can have that kind of fun. We'd have like player meetings at our house.
Yeah.
And like, when something was going down, you knew because, Dad's read 24/7. Going, oh my God, like this has happened again. Where,
Mainly it's social media trolls, but again, I suppose to prove yourself outside of just your surname.
People that would tend to have a go at me in that sense are sort of more playing the man than the ball.
Well, we've got probably the brightest young talent in Australian sport, television and journalism at the moment. And mind you, D, I feel very underdressed because the man sitting in the seat wearing a beautiful tailored suit. Xander McGuire, welcome to the Dawson D Show.
Thanks, fellas. Dressed up just for you. You reckon the T-shirt and jumper in the office soon enough. But no, thanks to the team at MJ Bale who look after everyone at Channel 7.
There's a little plug right on. That was about 12 seconds.
Yeah, I tell you what, we know we're with McGuire right now, the suit and the plugs. That's great. Mate, we were just talking off air about kind of your workload at the moment. I think that's probably a good place to start because we see you on TV and we hear you reporting, but we probably don't see what goes in to the backdrop of that. So it's the old iceberg theory. We see what comes out on the screen, but we don't see everything underneath. So tell us a bit about your day-to-day.
Yeah, I think particularly with TV news, that tends to be the case. So I'm just regular sort of on the road journo for 7 News. And that sort of looks like a 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. sort of day. So my days are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I have the Wednesdays, Thursdays off. But I'll go to a main training on a Wednesday morning if I've got a team that's in Vic on the Friday night. So what it looks like, and that's the beauty of it, is that it's different every day. So, I could wake up tomorrow and something's happened overnight and all of a sudden I've got to be, chasing some story that's, 24 hours before is unimaginable. But, we were just saying my day today, I was down checking out some injuries down at scans, which is always the worst part of the job, but you got to do it. Trying to bounce poor blokes walking in there. But and then I was at the G doing a few interviews here now, which is good. Nice little block out of the day. Yeah. Greg Swan, the new EGM of AFL. Well, I might date a little bit here, but that's his first day. So we'll go and chat to him, and back into the studio, write some scripts for 4 p.m. news, write a script for 6 p.m. news. Maybe do something live, and then we're off air at about 6:50. Get in the car at 7 and go home. So that's typically Mondays and Tuesdays for me. Friday nights, I then once I finish doing the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. news, very lucky to be doing little bits of news on Friday night footy. So something in the pre-game, halftime, post show. So we finish, probably get off air at about 11:15, and then Saturday nights, for most of the Saturdays, I've been doing the round so far at AFL House with Kate McCarthy, which has been awesome. But that's a late record, that one, because you got to wait until after all the Saturday games are done. So don't usually get out of AFL House till about 12:15. And then Sundays is a 9 to 7 day again. But the mornings I do a bit of stuff on the 7 Sunday footy show, just whatever we're chasing. But it's great. Footy season's busy, hectic, but love it. Like it's going really well. Loving being at 7.
It's good. It's good to hear. I mean, you say it's busy, but at the same time, it's probably that still quieter part of the season too. How do you keep your finger on the pulse? Because at the moment, like you said, you're waiting outside the scanning spot, and we're kind of on the verge of finals. We're not quite yet. Yeah, it's a lot of injury news, things like that. In what way are you keeping your finger on the pulse to just continually try and break news? Yeah,
well, it's funny you say that because I was having this exact conversation with Darcy Moore earlier this morning, and he's like, it's a tough time of year for you guys because it's particularly this year. It feels like nothing really has actually mattered for the last month. Like that top 9 to bottom 10 gap, or top 8 to bottom 10, has been massive. So like all these games are going on, and none of them are of real consequence, I guess, towards the end of the year. And at least now it's starting to heat up a bit. The Dogs lose a couple, and they're on the verge of finals, and there's a bit of fallout from all those kinds of things. You look at the coaches, and Goodwin seems pretty safe for now because they've got that developing list, and Voss has been promised his spot until the end of the year. So yeah, in terms of like massive, developing stories week to week, it feels a bit drier this year than it has, to be honest. But you're looking at things that have happened out of the weekend, and looking ahead to the end of the year. Who's not getting a game, who should get another contract, who's due for a big extension, who's a bit disgruntled. What are you hearing just around town, whether it's chatting to people at trainings or chatting to people at the London Tavern at midnight or something like that. Everyone's always got a little tidbit or something like that. But yeah, you're just trying to be as diligent as possible, following up everything. And particularly, this time of year, injury stories are massive because, it's the end of someone's season. Like, Finn McGuinness on the weekend has that lacerated kidney. That's always a big story, right? But his season's probably over now. Whereas if that happened at the start of the year, it's, he'll spend a few weeks out and slowly come back into it. So yeah, trying to just keep your finger on the pulse by being at clubs and talking to as many people as possible. But you can't preempt things before they happen as well. So. But yeah, it's good.
So, and I'm interested to hear relationship with players and coaches and staff, and let's just say footy clubs as a whole. So you're the rising star at the moment through the media, and we're loving seeing you rise. You're doing such a great job. But as your career progresses, I'm sure there's going to come a time where it's going to get uncomfortable between a coach or a player.
Yep.
So how do you feel at the moment in balancing relationships versus your job? Do you have any kind of, or have you been given advice on how to handle that sort of thing moving forward, or is it just work comes first and relationships second, or vice versa?
Yeah, well, I think that it's sort of they're all intertwined.
Yeah.
If you start burning people left, right, and centre, then no one will ever give you the time of day ever again. And I've got a lot of mates that play in the game, and I grew up in a footy club as well, and a lot of those people are all sort of different clubs now. I mean, I chat to my old man about it because he was very much. Breaking stories, but he was, Derm was like his best mate, going out on the weekends and with all the guys, and he towed the line, pretty well between those couple of things. I think it's just about being, at the end of the day, like a good bloke about things. People understand that that's your job is to break stories and that sort of thing, but it's equally, doing things that are footy stories, not trying to stitch people up for doing things that aren't necessarily, don't impact their footy or it's in their personal life and that kind of thing. And, also doing things in a way where you're not burning people unnecessarily in the delivery of a story. Like, the story's the story. You don't need to drive by people in the process and, working together on delivery and that kind of thing. But again, it's inevitable that you're going to, get yourself in a couple awkward situations, which, again, inevitably come. Like, and I say that I chat to my old man about these sort of things. Like, he had a great relationship with players, but it didn't stop Plugger from spearing him with a crutch. So there's always going to be times, but a lot of the time, if it's done in the right way, you look back on it and laugh about it. A couple of years later, and in the heat of the moment, it feels like it's a massive thing. But that's the beauty of a lot of footy journalism is that it is footy. And it's fun and it's people's release, and even though it is our jobs, it's you can do it in a way that I think is friendly and everyone sort of gets where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. God, you speak well. Speak so well. Sometimes though, you don't get to choose. Like recently, somehow you're in the middle of probably the hottest feud between Bevo and Kane Cords, and somehow you're just brought into it. I mean, you didn't get to choose that.
No, it was actually my day off as well, so I wasn't supposed to be there. But I had the dogs on Friday night, like I was saying before. I'll try and go down to a main training session, and I didn't ask the question either. And so they go, Kane Corns, and I look over, Elliot Rader, who runs the media department there, goes, oh no. And Bevo sort of, you can see he takes a deep breath in. I've gone, oh no, this is going to go somewhere here. And I mean, I got stitched up a bit by Kingy. Kingy said I wasn't fast enough to claim Kane, or that I didn't jump in to defend him. I'd like to see any journo that would jump in to defend Kane in front of Bevo at his own press conference. But
when you're like face to face with Bevo, I don't think you're going to say anything.
No,
right?
I've got a good relationship with Bevo as well.
Good.
And, I think he played it pretty well. I thought it was all good fun, and Kane loved it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is life or death in the sense that it's people's jobs, but the sort of banter and that sort of thing is literally the best thing about footy, is that you can have that kind of fun. But yeah, Bev went him. I appreciated his condolences for working with Kano. Unfortunately, I don't think I will be anymore. He banned me from Fireball Friday and Monday the other day. So for not backing him up hard enough, and for tweeting it first, prioritising.
Normally, I would probably know that, but I haven't been listening to it because the doggies have been losing the last 2 weeks. So sorry, Kane and Kingy.
But that was an interesting one to find myself in the middle of things there, which sometimes you do. You can never, with some coaches, you can never really predict where things are going to go. Guys like Ross Lyon, who are some really great presser content so colourful and you just don't know where it's going to go.
Well, it would have been in your era, the Mick days.
Yeah. I'm more here. Yeah, you hear the war stories from other guys around the beat. From Mick, I was at that stage. I was on the inside of it. So I was like, Mick's great. Ask Shane McInnes. You'll get a different response.
Now, can I quickly jump in before we move past? We're on press conferences, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of the 200 plus boys, which I know if you haven't been on to record that one, I know you're heading in there soon. But I would love to hear the other side of this famous story. At RSCA Park,
yes,
Nick Butler and yourself are getting ready, and Butts, has famously come out and said you came in the suit and he was in the jeans and t-shirt. Can you just let's get some clarity around this? I want to hear your response.
Yeah, well, I mean, Butts came in and he was dressed sloppily. It's gather round. It's the pinnacle of the home and away season. Arguably, everyone's in town. You got to be looking good. And Butts, even though he's done it very well for a long time, was looking sloppy. It was a white t-shirt. I reckon it was a bit sort of creased. He wasn't looking his absolute finest. 9 a.m, about 20 degrees down at Glenelg, I reckon. And the interesting thing as well is Butts was in his old jaunt. Butts used to run Adelaide. Well, that's what he says. That's where he played for the Port Adelaide Magpies. He dominated the news scene over there. He read 10 News. Maybe that's why. Maybe he felt a little bit comfortable. I'm not sure. And he rolled down. He was kicking footies. He was kicking goals from the boundary line in the morning. The Adelaide journos are going, who's this bloke that's just swanned in here and is trying to take the territory? And Ross called him for it. He just called him out, said, Butts, I'm not going to cop that today. I'm not going to cop you coming down and running our training session. So, he was good. It was good to me, Ross. Ross, he loves people that roll down in the suit. Apparently, Butts actually went down. I wasn't there at this presser. He copped it from Ross. I don't know if you saw it. Copped it from Ross for being a bit too casual. And I got the first question in the presser because I wasn't. And apparently, Butts has gone down to Ross's presser a couple of weeks later in the suit. And Ross has given him donuts.
Oh, no.
He's hung him out to dry. Yeah. So Butts feels terrible. He's gone to all the effort to look good and that sort of thing.
I feel even more underdressed.
I know, me too. Oh, I must say, 200 plus, great pod as well. We're not
great
trying
pod.
I listened to it. Went to the live show a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
So, yeah, I did actually. It was a good night.
Yeah.
So they're doing well.
No, they are going well. And then I actually rocked up to Ross's presser in casuals about a month later and got a spray as well.
Did you really?
Yeah, he just said, I can't believe you look like you've just rolled out of bed. I don't come to my press conference dressed like that.
You got to be on. You got to be on, don't you?
Oh, you literally do. Now, again, doing a bit more research on you, I want to take a couple of steps back in your career before all this we've been talking about. So I wasn't even aware of this, Xander, but I didn't realise that you were a budding child star.
Yes.
And there's on the old stage and screen. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Sammy, get that photo up. We want to have a quick look at Xander back in your days at Neighbours, mate. So when did this kind of happen? Tell us about your career before your current career. There we go, Ramsey Street.
Oh, Ramsey Street.
How old are you there, by the way?
That would have been just prior to my 13th birthday. So I was 12 there. So that was out at Channel 10's Nunawading Studios.
Okay.
So it was funny. My old man drove me out there on the first day and we parked in the exact same car park that his old man parked in when he dropped Dad off for his first day at Channel 10 when he was 17.
Oh, right.
Because that's when Dad started as a Channel 10 cadet. And that was on those steps is when Dad was doing his first ever pre-record screen test kind of stuff, which were horrendous. You might actually be able to get the vision up because I presented a logie with Dad a year later and we ran the vision of it and he can't get a sentence out. It's pretty funny.
See if you can find that, Sammy.
No, it was great. I did musicals and sort of like theatre and a bit of acting stuff through primary school. And I went to actually do an audition for a movie. It was like a small part in a movie, which I got the role and then it ended up budget cuts. I was like a flashback character for the main character.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of the only thing I think that they could cut out without, sacrificing the rest of the movie. So I didn't end up getting that gig. So I'm not in the movie if you're going to look that up after.
Find that.
I went out there, did the screen test and everything, and that sort of happened. And then 2 months later, they contacted and said, look, this is a bit bizarre, but we've been screen testing for this role on Neighbours for about 2 or 3 months. We can't find anyone that kind of fits the mould. And we've just started handballing other tapes that we had. And, they liked your tape and you look like what we need to look like and you're the age bracket and that kind of thing. And and it just went from there.
Wow.
So that was funny.
Here we go.
That's the one.
So we've got Eddie's 17 years old. Here we go.
Yeah.
Bad news following the reduction in interest rates. The reduction has resulted in a $21. The good news is that Stop, Prince. The bad news for ANZ and National Australia back rowers is that their cuts.
There we go. Well done.
There he goes at the front of it again there. What's the haircut there?
I love it.
Do we? I don't know if we love it. That's ambitious. That's a 17-year-old that's got a bit ahead of himself there. But yeah, so no, it was great. So I worked, pretty much full time through the back part of year 7 and most of year 8.
Right.
So I was out at Nunawading like 3 or 4 days a week and at school 1 to 2. And then
Oh,
I actually,
wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I went out and I did it for like 2 or 3 months in 2018, which was year 10 for me. So
Yeah.
it was great. It was good to, Dad always loves to carry on about how he was on the tools when he was from when he was 13. So I beat him. My first day on the job was when I was 12. So
That's amazing.
someone's got to get out and put food on the table for our family. So I did it as I took the hit as a 12-year-old. But no, it was great. It was good to get in like a professional environment, and like Neighbours it was amazing. It probably one of the best things I learned, and everyone out there said this at the time as well, is the way that Neighbours is unmatched almost anywhere in the world in terms of they just churn out content.
Yeah.
It was just such a well-oiled machine, and there was no bullshit. It was just, all right, let's go. And just to work with a crew that knew exactly what they were doing. Everyone had to come in prepared, otherwise you're left behind. It's definitely set some good foundations for ultimately moving into media and that sort of thing. I was big on school and stuff as well though. Like I was big on my academics, so I did in year 10, and then I wasn't really big on pursuing any kind of work in year 11 or 12, and then beyond that, sort of moved into more journalism sort of thing.
Do you have any ambition ever to go back into that world? Or we're going to break
we
it
gotta
scoop.
we gotta
We're getting excited.
That's all right. I can get to that in a little bit. Any ambition to get back into
Acting, or down the line?
I love, and this sort of sounds a bit cliche and a bit cringe, but like I think the element of it that I liked, first and foremost, it's like near impossible to make a consistent living in that industry unless you're just an absolute superstar. Which am I an absolute superstar actor? You'd have to give it a proper roll of the dice to find out, but it's so hard. And even like, the best don't even, so it's not, it's hard. It's really hard. And the element that I liked the most about it was the the storytelling part of it. Like I love telling a yarn, and I find it just as, interesting and compelling to do that through real life situations. And sport, particularly AFL, is the best soap opera that we have in Australia, really. Like the drama of it, and the amount of people that are invested day to day, and it's great. That's no one, for me, like I don't fall in love with footy for the X's and O's of it and the game plans. It's like you love the hero that's coming from rags to riches, or the bloke who's that's the story about Jack Silvani that the Pies are interested in him. Imagine the drama if he went to Collingwood. That sort of stuff I love.
But Xander, do you remember there was a great soap opera in footy? I think your old man was involved in with the footy show. Do you remember that? What was that called? Do you remember the
I don't know
with
something Boulder?
Yeah,
Life of Boulder?
Didn't remember this.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, I think it
Was it
was
the Life of
of Boulder or something. Shane Crawford and
Yeah,
Eddie
right.
and I'll show you off here.
My footy show watching
Can you
era,
look that up, Sammy?
Yeah.
Please?
funnily enough, was when because
House of Bulger.
House of Boulder.
House of
That's-
Bulger.
Put it. I say Boulder.
Okay. Well, I think I was 3 when Dad finished his first stint on the footy show.
Wow.
And he became CEO 9, and we moved up to Sydney, and then by the time I sort of started tuning into it, it was JB and Gaz and Sam, and then Dad went back in I think it was 2017 or 18 or something like that. But so a lot of the stuff, my memories of Dad on the footy show are through YouTube and the
Makes
Trevor
me feel
Marmalade
old.
clips.
That makes me feel so old.
Yeah, I know.
Because I look
how
across
young
at Xander,
Xander-
I think, we're similar age, but we're not really known.
I'm exposing myself a little bit here as well. On a couple
You
of
know,
things.
you're the second youngest guest we've ever had on the show.
Really?
We worked
Who's-
it out.
who's the youngest?
Well, at the time was the Shepmates. I don't know if you know those.
yeah.
They would have been like
Might have been,
20 or
yeah.
something when they came on. Yeah,
right, okay.
a few years
Yeah.
ago. But
There's no bigger newsbreaker in the game at the moment than Xander.
there isn't. And I tell you what, he's got some scoops coming up very shortly. But before then, we've got a scoop for you. Fleet Plan Hire Solutions.
So Fleet, the number one in all of the country in all things earth moving equipment. So you're thinking you need to move some things around with a truck, go to them.
Yep.
What about you're digging up something in the backyard?
Who
Get
do
an
I go to,
excavator,
Dos?
go to them.
Oh, okay.
As a plan hire as well, Fleet. So if you need a bigger truck
Yes.
to cart some much bigger things around, you go to them.
Tell you one other thing too, Dos. Don't forget this part. Now, when you got a job that needs doing and it is huge, there's the other side of things that we don't like, the logistics, the compliance, all the nitty gritty, the legal jargon. Guess what? They look after that too, so you don't have to. Visit Fleet Plan Hire Solutions now at fph.com.au.
Back to the episode with Xander. You mentioned full circle moments and that on the stairs there when you were at the Channel 10 studio or the Nunawading studio. That really pulls the heartstrings, like me hearing that, because, you know, for someone like your old man, I'm sure it just brings so many memories back from when he was in the exact same position. How has that been for you guys in your relationship? It's probably a new dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, particularly my first year or two at Nine, when it was, I was more really just chasing, the little tidbits around training and helping out the other journos and that sort of thing. I was kind of I was handballing him just like exactly what was kind of happening on the ground and stuff. And it's funny, working in the same industry as your old man. Like it's hard, probably hard for mum at the dinner table when we just start talking footy and talking backroom footy sort of stuff. But no, it's been great. I've loved it. But you talk about full circle moments, and it's every footy club I go to, because people are lifers in footy. Like they're in footy for life in various capacities. So one of my first jobs at this is the same in media as well. But one of my first jobs at Nine, I'm down at Carlton, and there's a scrum of 3 or 4 cameramen, and one of them is this guy Dubsy, who's the chief cameraman at Channel 10, and why do they call him Dubsy? It's because he's got a big bald head that's shaped like a TW Sharon. and he goes, your old man coined that, when we worked together at Channel 10. And the 9 camo I was worked with my old man. And then, so still I work with Cameron that, work with Dad all the time. And, people in footy that go, I remember when your old man was down here in the 90s and he was chasing this story that you are today. And one of the first press conferences I ever went to was I was interning with Alicia Muling, who was reading sport on Saturdays and was a Nine Sport journo at the time. She's finished now, but it was Brett Ratton at St Kilda. And I was kind of sitting back, one out, one back, just kind of trying to mind my own business. I had a notepad. If it gets quiet here, I've got a couple of questions I might ask. And Rats gets up to the mics, and he looks around, and he looks at me, and he just pisses himself laughing and has to walk away from the microphones. And everyone's going, what's going on here? And he grabs 2 of the old sort of Saints trainers and everything. He brings them out, come over here. He goes, look at him. Who do you reckon he looks like? Gone, oh no. And he comes up to me and goes, g'day, Eddie. Loving it. And Rats is an unreal, you see him around Hawthorn and North the last few years, but the Hawks now. But just little things like that. I don't help myself with my appearance. There's no sort of doubt. There's a bit of resemblance, but there's a lot of those full circle moments, and it's great. And Dad loves hearing about it, and I love it too. It's great. Footy's like a big community at the end of the day. So being part of it is good. It's great fun.
I'd love to ask about, again, we both actually read your man's book. I don't think it was a biography, but a book.
Wasn't his book.
Well, someone wrote a book about it.
Yep.
He didn't write it. There you go.
Yep.
But it was a very interesting read anyway. But again, just hearing about his workload. But and there's millions of Eddie stories. But what you don't hear is it from the family's perspective too. So I'd love to know, what was it like growing up in your household? You talked about how hard you work now, but he also worked incredibly hard then.
Yep.
So what did the day look like for you when you're a kid growing up?
Yeah, well, I think he, at least from my perspective, you wouldn't find anyone that was better at, even though the workload was wild. He was on air, Brekkie Radio every morning. Every morning, through my entire schooling, he was Brekkie Radio. So you wouldn't see him around the house in the morning, which was unreal, because the stress that he would have brought into the equation, can't find my school shoes, he wouldn't have been able to, he would have blown his top over, stuff like that. But he's better than I reckon anyone at finding little pockets. I could count on one hand, not even, the amount of times that I would have had a event, cricket or footy match, something, and he couldn't have made it to it, that I would have wanted him to be there. And even when he'd host Friday night footy for Fox, he'd come home at 5 p.m. for an hour. He'd find a way to come home and have dinner with us. He'd dinner every night. He's around. It was never a thing for me that I felt like I didn't get to see my old man for different parts of when I was growing up. In terms of what it was like just in general to when your old man's on the highest rating brekkie show every morning and the footy and Collingwood and that sort of thing, it's kind of just, it was just always was the way.
Yep.
And it's probably one that I became a little bit more aware of as time went on more than anything. But, it was good. Like the benefits of it outweighed the negatives, but the negatives are always there as well. Like it's never great. Like if there's some sort of controversy, which there tended to be at times, you've got 4 cameras out the front and like a camera's trying to bounce me once when I'm trying to getting home from a school footy game on a Saturday. And like it's little bits and pieces like that, which is funny because now I try and bounce footballs when they're going for scans.
Yeah.
I like to think I do it in a nicer way than some of the others do at times. But it was great. And the highs were fantastic, and you just power through the lows, and we're a great unit as a family. So but no, it's good. It was a great childhood.
In terms of the passion for Collingwood,
Yeah.
that's obviously something within the family as well.
Yeah.
And the camera was always on you guys. You know, when we've watched the footy over the years, it's always, you're with your dad, you and your brother Joe, and
Yep.
I'm sure for a lot of people seeing you now on the TV, they're like, holy shit, because you're now grown up. Everyone's
Yeah.
watching you on TV. There's a
There we
great
go.
photo
She's all pumped
of
up,
the three
aren't
of
we?
you. But tell us about your passion for Collingwood. Like we obviously, know you're barrack for Collingwood, but
Yep.
and now it's changed a little bit,
Yeah.
a lot because of the job that you do. But maybe growing up at the footy club, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think people will say in the media, like I remember hearing Sam McClure say at one point, like, I've sort of forfeited, my love for the like Carlton, as soon as I started the job. And Tom Morris says that, as much as he wants to hang on to loving the D's like he used to, it's just sort of, it's one that eventually wanes away a little bit. And I think in part, like for me, when a Collingwood injury story comes out or something big, crazy is happening at Collingwood, no part of me is going, I don't want to get into this, because they're like Collingwood stories are the best stories because it's the biggest club in the land. For me, I'm 100. I like to think, and genuinely, and if it comes across in any other way, it's genuinely not because I feel it. I'm so level through the week up until the first bounce, and then when the ball's bounced, I'm in. I'm still like a Collingwood supporter at heart. Because like I said before, no person that works in footy in any capacity does so or gets into footy without barracking for a team first, or falling in love with a player, or a coach or a narrative or a fan base, a community. Like that's why people get into it. So although you do end up peeling off a little bit because you might have a dispute with the club over a story and you get dirty on them for that. I know journos that were avid Hawthorn supporters and mental Hawthorn supporters, and just because they struggled dealing with the club, particularly through some of the premiership years, they say that love wanes away a little bit because you just get a bit frustrated. But no, I love the Pies, and like you said, it was when I was growing up, you're wearing it because you walk into school every day, and particularly that period when the Pies are finishing 13th every year, you just go, everyone's hanging that much shit on you. And you just, but then, they're bagging out players, and, you're in the rooms every weekend kicking the footy with them, and you're seeing how much it affects them and that sort of thing. Like I remember my mum comes from a Geelong family. And for the first few years that mum was married to dad, she was still maintaining that she was a Geelong supporter. And she said, I can't go into these rooms and, be old enough to almost be some of these boys' mums and watch them put their heart and soul into everything that they do, and everyone at this club put everything that they can into, having this operation succeed and how much it weighs on them, and then go out on the weekend and barrack against someone. You can't do that. And even now, there's so many great, Neil Price is a great example. He's been the boot stutter, volunteer, by the way, full-time boot stutter at Collingwood for nearly 40 years. And they made him a life member a couple of years back. But there's so many people like that are at the club that you just go, you love them for what they've been and to your family and everything. Nilo was helping do up some boots for my brother before he went back to Ohio State.
Wow.
Like I said, footy's a community. So even though I tackle the stories, I think independently because that's out of a love for the story. And a lot of the time I think it's great because you can drum up more drama. Like how good is it when you got your team coming into a game and there's been a big storyline for the week and everyone's thinking about it, and the backs are against the wall or something's happened, And if you can have a story that adds to that, it's great. But yeah, like I said, when the ball's bounced, I still am barracking for him. You know, not in my work, and I'd hate to lose that, because the second you lose that, it's kind of, you know, I reckon you lose it just a bit of love for the game in general.
I have lost that, unfortunately.
Who do you barrack for?
St Kilda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. The listeners don't have to hear that
it's a
again.
recurring conversation.
With
What's
anyone.
happened? Have you had a blue with the Saints?
Well, I did write him a scathing email at the end of the 2019 season, and I haven't been back since. That's another story for another day. Anyway,
You're not banned, are you?
Huh? No, I'm not banned. No, it wasn't that bad. Actually, I'm
just quickly share it. Yeah.
No, well, I was. It wasn't that bad.
Get off the chair.
I was a full nothing.
We're here to listen.
Xander. I would fly around the country for the Saints. Like,
Really?
I was full, like, so invested in it. And I don't know what happened. One day they put out this marketing campaign, and it pissed me off so much because they were just constantly talk about mediocrity and finishing 13th. Well, this is finishing 16th, 17th, 18th.
Yep.
And they did this, it sounds so stupid, this marketing campaign that was all about renew your membership because Saints fans are loyal. And I'm like, don't tell me to pay money because I'm loyal. Tell me how we're going to win a flag or how we're going to succeed or how. And it really annoyed me to the point where I've just.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I know it's past now.
And now
he just bags me.
I don't have a team anymore. I'm literally when Saints play, I'm
You're kidding.
No, I'm dead. I'm not.
What about if they start winning again?
No. Even when they were playing finals a couple of years. Anyway, that's all besides the point.
Jeez.
My question for you,
Marketing
Xander, is going back again. So I'd love to know, back in those kind of teenage years of yours,
Yeah.
were you ever privy to any kind of information through the club or anything that you had to hold to your chest? So stuff about, I don't know, a player being signed potentially or something going on. Were you ever part of any secret meetings in the McGuire household that you just couldn't go and tell? You would love to, but you can't leak it to your schoolmates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Do you have any you could talk about now in hindsight?
Oh shit. Let me think.
Now that the stories are past.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, we'd have like player meetings at our house.
Yeah.
And like, you know, when something was going down, you knew because, you know, Dad's read 24/7. Going, oh my god, like this has happened again. We're, you know, yeah. What's one? Oh, actually, I remember once we had a my brother and I would be like their waiters. We'd be like the coffee sort of. So we'd walk in and we'd drop off like the coffees and the teas for everyone and go, come to the pies. And we'd walk out. But, you know, we'd linger in there for an extra minute or two. Just, is this cup empty? Trying to listen in. Yeah, I remember, I think it was in the year off that when all the Bombers players were out. I remember Michael Hurley came over and they gave him the full pitch in our living room and they had like the PowerPoint up on the TV and everything. And my brother and I had to like set it up. Dad set it up because he got no idea about tech. And yeah, you know, it was like very, you know, out the back door and you know, don't say anything. Which is, yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things that were going on like that where it was, you know, don't say anything to your mates, like all through our childhood. But yeah, like, yeah, a lot of player meetings and the like at our house. I was chatting to Mitch Cleary about this the other day, and he was like, you know, would you sort of go to a president's house now because you know that's where some things would happen? And I guess like being on the other side of it for a long time maybe has given me a bit more of an idea as to where or, you know, how these things might happen. But yeah, I remember Mick Hurley. That was funny. And that was exciting as well because he was a gun. Yeah. Obviously didn't come, so the pitch must have been shit. But,
well, they tried hard at Rewalt too, didn't you, old man?
Yeah. And I remember...
you were doing pretty young.
Yeah, I reckon it was about 2015-ish.
Okay. I thought it was earlier.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard... Roo talk about it, but he talks about how, sending all those texts and everything, and Dad genuinely thought that he, you know, and I think he thought about it, but he's too loyal to your Saints,
my former Saints,
your former Saints, to go, but yeah, just putting on the sell, and that was one of his strengths as well was, again, being a footy fan and loving the club, like he knew what attracted him about Collingwood, and that it was, you know, the biggest team in the land, like. Yeah, you've only got one shot at this, boys. Do you want to come and be part of the big time and play on Anzac Day and play in big finals, or do you want to, you know, not? Do you want to? Yeah. So, I remember him putting that sell hard on Roo, but he didn't come either. So I've got all these stories that never actually came to fruition, but he got close, I reckon. But yeah, you know, there are a lot of those meetings at our house, which is pretty cool. As even though we're around it all the time, it was pretty cool to be, you know, I'm in the know here. Like I know what's going on.
And then there's obviously the 2010 grand final.
Yeah.
So. Sammy's going to throw up some vision here, but
Yeah.
what are your recollections? I mean, there was obviously the draw, which we've had a few people come and sit in the seat and talk about.
Yeah,
So I think all the loyal listeners are probably going.
I saw the Mark Neeld one actually. I was on the same plane as Mark Neeld the other day. We
Oh,
had a good
really?
chat. Yeah, he's a ripping bloke.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Very good
That
bloke,
interview
very
was really,
funny
really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your memories of the draw?
Yep.
First, and going into the rooms, and you obviously in and part of it. What was that like?
Well, I actually, my brother and I were the mascots for the draw, so we ran through the banner with the team. So
Oh, right.
that was amazing. I think it was 100,016. I reckon the crowd was that day, running out, and I remember just standing up. We got new jumpers for the occasion, and standing up the top of the race, just waiting for it to come up. And guys like Nick Maxwell, who are about to play the biggest game of their lives, still come over and, boys, how are you? And how exciting is this? And that's, again, I feel like I'm going back to that, but footy's a community.
Yeah.
And they were just unreal. And
they know you because they've
of
seen,
course.
they see you at the club. And
yeah. So that was awesome. I remember my one goal for the day was because I used to, you'd watch like really young kids go out and like that sort of trail behind by 100 meters, and I was 7 at the time. I'm like, I'm not going to trail behind if my life depends on it. I'm gonna stay in the group. Everyone in the crowd's going to think I'm a player because I'm going to keep up with them. And I sort of I stuck to Leon's side and gunned alongside him and got through. So that was amazing. The draw itself was. I think the drama of the day is well documented with the sewerage and the pipes all exploding, so we had to move into the other rooms, and it was I think, and part of the reason why it went probably well for the Pies is because they were so like they were machine like in, all right, like it's done, move aside, what are we going to do now? Guys like Mick and my old man as well, and Gary Pert, they were straight on it. Like we know Collingwood's lost that 77 draw the next week. What did we do wrong? What did they do right? And a big part of it was getting the group together that night. And my brother and I are there at the function and listening to everyone give the speeches and let's go again. So amazing time. And then obviously got over the line the next week.
Go for it, Sammy.
Yeah, we want to see this.
Now this is real passion.
Towards the pocket.
Yeah.
Interesting. Two Saints fell over. Dawes hand passes to the goal script. Thomas turns around and pops it through on the bounce. It's flattened anyway. Doesn't matter. Goal this stand. They won't get two. That'll be greedy.
Yeah, there he is.
So, geez,
Joyous scenes.
53
There we
points.
go. I'm having a good go on the right there as well.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
This is my favourite part. Always marks to the record.
Now watch this.
We'll see.
I'll tell you what, premierships are great. They're great for the players, no doubt
Yeah,
about that.
I'm saying you're on the screen.
Dad, hold it together.
Yeah, but see how he gets a bit cranky there again. He's back on.
Oh,
These players will be thanked for the rest of their lives, I reckon. Luke.
So someone's turned around him and gone, "Congratulations, Ed.
Oh,
you've done
that's
it."
that.
And he's gone. And that's funny because Dennis actually said something along the lines of, he'd be thinking it's not done yet. And someone said, you've done it. And Dad's a massive, he's big on the Moz. Because actually in the draw, I think we were 5 goals up at half time. And someone came up and said, mate, like it's in the bag. And he's gone, don't say that. And then all of a sudden they go on this run. And I reckon he's boring holes in this bloke's skull. He was about 4 rows down with these laser eyes. And thank God we didn't lose. But yeah, that was in that very moment he was like, it's not done yet. It's not done yet. But yeah, that was a great night. My brother and I went down into the function for a bit that night and didn't kick on like the rest of them. But I think I was old enough to appreciate like how cool it was. I probably in hindsight, you don't understand like how big the occasion is in terms of what people have sacrificed to get there at all levels of the club. That was cool when the Pies won a couple of years ago with so many people that are still there, just to know that what a win that was for them. But yeah, for the old man, I mean, God, if they didn't win that flag. But yeah, I remember that day pretty vividly. And then, funnily enough, 2011, a year later, I couldn't tell you a thing about that day. And I guess that's just sort of how you block out. Who was I? I reckon I was talking to, I was talking to Dane Swan about this not that long ago. And he's the same. Like he reckons he doesn't really remember anything from the 2011 game whatsoever. You just block it out and move on, I guess.
Seeing everything your dad did, is that something, if you were to look down the line, and I know it's a really hypothetical question, but being like a president of a footy club or going into or being part of a board of a footy club, is that something you would like to or could see yourself doing based on all the time sacrifice and everything that comes with it? Or
Yeah.
I know it's a hard question when you're so young now, but
Yeah. I mean, to be a president or a board member of a club, you got to be able to bring a fair bit to the equation. Like these board members aren't there, for participation trophies. Like they're titans of business or whatever they're sort of in. So if I were to, I've got to actually be, pretty good at something before a footy club would go, geez, we'd actually like this guy on board. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, look how well Collingwood's going right now, and look at how many people would say as well for in terms of position in the media. Does it put you in a compromising position in the eyes of the public? Maybe. Other guys, it's not just my old man. JB did it. He was at North and did it well. And Koshy was in the media, at Port Adelaide and those sort of things. I don't know. It's way too far down the track. Yeah. And I'd be, if I'm 10 not out at the moment, I'd want to be probably raising the bat after a double ton before I even considered offering my services up for anything else other than just going to work every day, I reckon. So,
do you feel pressure at all? I mean, having to, like you mentioned, even the slight comment of, you look like your dad.
Yeah.
And even though that might be small, or the compounding effect of that, filling the shoes of your dad, do you ever feel like you're having to, adhere or trying to succumb to this kind of pressure, or you feel pretty confident in you're paving your own way?
Yeah, I've never really seen it as like filling the shoes. And, even though I'm following a similar like sort of trajectory in terms of like I'm a news journo right now for 7 years, and the same age my old man was a news journo for 10 years, that sort of thing. But I've never seen it as like I've got to emulate exactly what he did. Like, we're sitting here right now in this studio in South Melbourne, recording a podcast, and podcasting is this entire different thing, and social media is such like it's a completely different game now. And I also reckon it's more of a perception thing, to be honest, because like I don't know what either of your dads did, but like. A lot of my best mates' parents are lawyers and doctors, and they're studying medicine and law right now. And they don't feel the pressure to emulate exactly what they've done. Where obviously I want to be successful, right? And if I could be as successful as my old man's been, that would be fantastic. But I don't feel like I have to do this just because I'm working in a similar role and the odds on if I grow up in a media industry and a setting as a kid and that's what my whole life is, I'm going to take an interest in it. And that's the same with my mates that are going into law or medicine or taking over their old man's butcher or whatever it is. So I more see it as I've got a great mentor, and I can lean on him for great advice through that kind of thing. But I've never viewed it as I've got to, go to the same, sort of go down the exact same road and do the thing. Probably for me, there were times earlier on that I felt maybe a little bit more pressure to, I need to prove to people that like I'm not just some dud that's come in and, is going to spud it up on whatever he's on and is sort of just there through a free ticket. And, but in that sense, that just motivates you to just perform well and do your job well, which, you're motivated to do anyway. And I don't really feel that way now. That was probably more like in really early sort of periods. But you have your people that you appreciate the feedback from and that kind of thing. And then you move from there. So it's a bit of a convoluted answer, but yeah.
Well, I mean, and again, like it's always the way, unfortunately. But like you see articles and it talks about like nepotism and all that kind of. So even dealing with that kind of stuff, like how have you gone when that's being portrayed? I mean, mainly it's social media trolls, but again, I suppose to prove yourself outside of just your surname.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's very easy to just go, bugger all these, whatever. But like at the end of the day, people are entitled to their own opinion. Like if people don't, if like the name of our game is that, you want people to watch you. So I'm hoping that people out there want to watch, aren't just flicking off because they don't like me, But no, like I sort of touched on it before. I think if people that would tend to have a go at me, in that sense are sort of more playing the man than the ball.
Yeah.
Like if you were to go, Xander, you got that wrong. You got that story wrong, or your delivery was terrible, or whatever it was. That's fair enough. Like that's the sort of feedback that you'd take on. But if you're just going to go me, my view on those sort of people is, if the same person that's just going to fire like pot shots at me, across Twitter, if I was working in consulting and didn't, wasn't doing anything on footy or news or anything like that, those same people would be potting someone else.
Yeah.
Like it tends to be, I reckon, a general bitterness just towards life. Like, if they weren't going me, they'd be going, JB because his collar's sticking out, or they'd be, going, I don't know, Abby Holmes because they didn't like the question she asked at halftime. I don't know. I think that's the perspective I like to take with it. And I think it actually tends to be true because you look through these, which I used to be a lot worse with. I'd actually read it, and now I don't. But you look through these people's timelines and they just like spew hate about everything. So no, like again, I go to work and, I like to think I work hard and do a job that, hopefully my employers are happy with. And by the same token, like, if I'm not going to listen to them pop me, although you appreciate when they give you a lot of support as well, that's really nice. You got to try and keep your feedback circle pretty tight towards, people that actually know what they're talking about, have a broader perspective on things and understand the industry well. Like the old saying, don't take a sort of, actually, I'll get this wrong, but it's like, don't take criticism from someone that you wouldn't take a compliment from, or don't take a compliment from someone that you wouldn't take criticism from. It's all just white noise at the end of the day, and when it comes across social media, Twitter's a zoo. Like, I think the general, the way that people consume content and their opinions on things, like I don't have any mates, none of my friends would ever comment on a random post, just like getting annoyed at things. Like if one of my mates just like jumped on going, "Oh, Mitch Cleary's a flog," I'd be like, "What is wrong with you? Like, you are a freak. Like, get a life, bro." So yeah, again, another convoluted response, but that's sort of just the approach you have to take for it. And I have a great job. I love doing what I'm doing. So that's sort of it, really.
I'd love to jump across to your brother because he's doing some amazing stuff over in the States too. And we mentioned, or there was something kind of mentioned off air, which a little story with a pretty famous name. But maybe share a little bit about Joe and what he's doing and the success he's had.
Yeah, he's going pretty well. So he's scholarship punter at Ohio State, and he's been over there for about. This is going to be coming up on his third season in the program. He was back up for the first year to Jesse Mirko, who was a gun. Won the starting role last year, and they won the national title, which was an amazing thing for him. So he's finishing up. He's 2 years older than me. He's finishing up his degree over at Ohio, and I think he'll probably stay over there. And it's interesting because it's like, and I think the way that we're becoming a more globalised sport market in Australia and particularly Melbourne, like people understand that it's a really cool thing that he's gone and won a national title. But like over there, the red carpet's rolled out for him for a long time. So I think he'd be silly not to try and cash in and live there for a bit and work there and carve a path, and then hopefully he comes home after that. But mate, it's ridiculous. Like the things that they've got their own private jet. Their food budget just for the team is, I think, $5 million US a year, just for the food. For the food. He shares a locker room with like these guys that are going first round in the draft and all these sort of things. So I went over I was living in the UK for 6 months last year, and I went over to watch the rivalry game. I was studying at University of St Andrews doing some international relations stuff, and I went over for the Michigan game, which is their big rivalry game. They lost. And then I went over for the national championship game, which they won. And then we kicked on in Ohio afterwards. So yeah, that was a great night. I remember.
I've heard about Ohio nights.
Yeah. It was good. I remember the night that we got there, it was minus 23 degrees. It was the coldest day of the year. And Joe and I roll up to the after party and there's like a line of 200, people that are waiting out trying to get in. And all the players had something like 5 sorority invites. So you can damn like 5 sorority sisters to, you can come and get on the door, who's asked you to come, whatever. So we get there, we jump in and
what a life.
And the Secchi's going, oh yeah, McGuire, yeah, come in. And we get in there and we met with these two like 6'8" identical twins who play on the team, Deontay and Devontae, the lads. And,
The lads.
And they've got 2 bottles of Don Julio, one in each hand. They go, come on, like shots on entry, shots on. So we're doing shots on entry, and then we look up, and blokes are just spraying champagne off the tables at each other. Like it was a full on like. Exactly what you'd imagine it to be. Bit loose for a Tuesday night. And, it was sick. So we had that week, which is great. We're getting stopped in the street and people are pulling up my old man and going, hey, McGuire's dad, take a photo with me and Joe. Dad's taking all the photos.
McGuire's dad.
Yeah, oh, you're McGuire's dad. So that was sick. And and you've got the photo up here, which he had he's framed himself in nicely there, hasn't he?
Wowee.
Gosh, yeah. So he had the Donald. They did the
Look at all the red
trip
ties.
through the White House.
He's literally 2 to the right of Donald Trump.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
apparently he was very funny on the day.
Was he?
The Don, yeah. And he wasn't. He actually that wasn't in the plan to take him into the Oval Office, but he just apparently he goes, you're not supposed to go into the Oval Office.
That was very good.
That was good.
But we don't care. He goes, fucking who cares? We're doing it. And I loved it. And anyway, he takes him in and they all get photos in there with the trophy and Joe does it. And he just goes, and they were told, don't ask him to sign anything and don't touch him. And they do the photo and they're sort of walking off and Joe goes, geez, unless I really kick on here in the States, I don't know if I'm ever going to be sitting in the Oval Office with the sitting president ever again. So he just goes, thanks for having us, mate. And the Don goes, yeah, no worries.
Oh,
so he secured the handshake in the Oval Office. So he's done well.
He's done
got that
very
for
well.
the rest of his life.
Well done. And just before we move on to our Rexall confession booth, you did tell us off air about a lunch in Jordan Belfort's house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When and what and how?
Yeah, that was interesting. It was that was a funny day. We when Jordan did the book, The Wolf of Wall Street, he came out and he did a bunch of like press tours to try and sell it, and one of them was in Australia. And I can't remember what the show was at the time. I can't remember what the show was, but he went on one of Dad's radio shows, and they had him on, and he was going, and Dad's going, geez, this bloke's an unreal talent. Like he's hilarious. And they, instead of having like a 3-minute slot, they kept him on for like the whole break, and then they kept him on for another seg after, and they ended up like sort of exchanging details. Next time you come in, next time I come on, and that kind of thing. And then obviously the Wolf of Wall Street movie comes out, and the whole thing just like he becomes this cult figure, which he sort of already a bit was with the book, but it just became out of control. And like Dad would be driving us and our mates around, and he'd like do a little like his little party trick. He'd call Jordan, because everyone's going, how cool is that Wolf of Wall Street movie? And then he'd like, I've got his number, I'll call him. It'd be like 3 a.m. in LA. Like,
not answering.
But like we're all sitting there with bated breath, like, oh my God, like what if he like picks up and asks us to sell a pen or something? This would be sick. Anyway, so it gets to 2018 and my brother's doing media for year 12. And I don't know if you're familiar with the VCA media curriculum, probably not, but a large part of it is you do like a huge project towards the end of the year. So it's like you do like a short film or I don't know, whatever it is. And my brother did a doco on cryptocurrency, like for the whole year. It was sort of like as Bitcoin was doing its first big boom or whatever. Anyway, we had a family trip to LA teed up mid-year, and my old man goes, it'd be good. Wouldn't it be good to get the Wolf of Wall Street on your doco?
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. Anyway, so he texts him, and sure enough, Jordan goes, Eddie, mate, absolutely, let's do it. Come to my house. We'll do the interview for your son's project. And we're going, he's surely got the right guy. Like, is he taking you for a
It's not an
ride?
impersonator, is it?
Anyway, so he sends us the address, and we rent a car and we drive out to Hermosa Beach in California, thinking, what's going on here? And we get to the house, and it's this like, and it had sort of been like at the end of the movie, it's like he's lost a lot of the cash and the pizzazz and that kind of thing. But we get there, and he's living in this like unreal, like 2-3 story house right on the beach. So like he walks out his front door, he's on the sand, and the ocean's 100 meters away. So he's got a pad.
He's not homeless.
No, he's not homeless. He's doing fine, and he's worked the whole Wolf of Wall Street number magnificently.
Yeah.
So we get there, we knock on the door, no answer. Ring the phone, no answer. Knock on the door again, and we're there for like 10 minutes, and we're going,
Oh no.
we've been stitched up here, I think. Anyway, sure enough, as we're about to like get in the car and I don't know, go get we're thinking we're in strife here. Bang! Out pops the door on the top deck. Oh, sorry, Eddie. Oh, sorry, mate. So he comes, well, not mate, but he comes down and he goes, oh, sorry, I've just been dealing with a bit of back pain, so a bit sluggish this morning and had to have a couple of painkillers, and me, I'm not just taking one. So he was sort of a bit groggy. You know what? Let's go get lunch. Let's go get lunch. So we went around the corner, and it was us, his partner, like my family, his partner and Jordan just sat at the local restaurant, and like everyone sort of knew who he was because he lived around there, and he's given us like his best. Like I'm like, what are the most cooked stories that you couldn't do in the movie? He goes, oh mate, we actually had to cut stuff. We had to pull all the stories back, and he's given us both barrels, and it's like some of it's sickening to be honest, but it was like unreal. It was the coolest thing ever. But he was battling a bit like with this back pain, and we get back to his place and we set up for the interview, and he's like genuinely in the wars, and we're going, oh no, this is. I don't know what sort of content we're going to get here. And you've never seen a bloke in your life just
really
like, as soon as it was like, all right, we're gonna start. And my brother's got his sheet of paper there with the questions like, ready to go. But he was, he did well. And as soon as like it was lights on, like you've never seen a bloke perform. He just went like bang, bang, bang. And he was like just a pure entertainer. He was unreal. And the things that he said were interesting as well. Like he knew what he was talking about, but he was just so engaging and like he was amazing. And then as soon as it was done,
right.
like he was cooked. So we got a couple of photos and we had a quick chat and then off we went. But yeah, I had lunch with the Wolf of Wall Street in the Wolf's Den. So
I'd love to know
cool.
his other classmates, like who their projects were on, or like they would not compare to that at all.
I don't think in the history of the school, I don't think they're comparing to that, but that's unbelievable. Now, should we get into the confession booth?
Yeah, let's do it, mate.
Did you have a quick question for Xander as we enter the confession booth? You had one this morning. But no, it's all right, don't worry.
No, I don't.
You don't?
no, hang on. What's he?
Oh, no.
It's
no, I was just going to...
Come on, we're 55 minutes in here.
No, I was going to say... Well,
am I going to ask to cut this out?
Knowing you're a Catholic background, your dad born a Catholic? Or was brought up Catholic?
Where's this going?
No, I was just going to say, well, it could be fitting coming into the confession booth, the confessional, but you're obviously not.
No, I was baptised as a kid. Yeah, I went to an Anglican school actually, but go to.
He's not practicing.
I go to mass on Christmas Day. I go on Easter Sunday.
I'm good.
We'll get along just fine.
Yeah.
Great. Well, welcome to the Rexall shocking confession booth.
Great.
Xander.
Now we're about to ask Xander for his shocking Rexall confession, but first, let's talk a little bit about Rexall.
Well, Rexall, Australia's leading electrical wholesaler with 127 stores across the nation.
Over 100 years old too, so you don't have to go far to find your nearest... Rich history, and of course, like Dossie, you don't have to go far to find your nearest Rexall wholesaler. Actually went in the other day in Knoxfield and had a little look around.
How did you enjoy that?
Loved it. Very good, very helpful.
You're not doing any work at home,
No,
are you?
I'm not a Sparky, and but that's why this app comes in handy, because if you're like me and you don't understand the lingo, download the Rexall app.
They've also got a chatbot on their app as well. So people like you and I who don't know A to B, and when it comes to products, you can just type in what you need, and the chatbot responds pretty efficiently too. But Rexall... they're the best in the business.
Yeah, so if you are a Sparky or you're married to a Sparky or you're the brother of a Sparky or whatever it may be, make sure you get them onto this app if they're not already, because they'll have all their needs there with the biggest brands.
Make sure to follow them
Australia-wide.
on Instagram as well.
Absolutely.
They're doing lots of good stuff on social media.
All right, so now the segment itself, we've asked all our guests to come up with a shocking Rexall confession. We'd love to know what you've got for us today, Xander.
Yeah. I was thinking about this last night, and I was having dinner with Cody Waitman, who's one of my best mates.
Oh, the Flea.
And the Flea. And he's
Now
like,
he's
he's like, you should tell the story about like how we became mates. And this sort of, I guess the headline of it is that I effectively got banned from the only silver shop in Porty Sorrento area over summer, which is where I usually, like when I was having summers off, over uni and school and everything, like, we were always down there. So you can imagine the sort of blow that is when you're dropping into Hotel Sorrento pretty much every night and you want a SUV, you want a feed afterwards. And I was too sheepish to ever go back in there. But it was actually basically the first night, like we sort of like caught up through mutual mates with a bunch of like our other friends who were all like really good mates as well. And we gave it a nudge at the at the Hotel Sorrento. So part of this story is I'm informed by a third person account. Anyway, we go and get a silver after, and it's like the most packed silver joint you've ever seen in your life. I don't know if you know the silver joint down there, but it's It's not big, and I reckon there would have been like 60 people in there. Like you were crammed in, you could not move. There's like condensation on all the windows. It was steaming hot, and it was summer as it was. Anyway, so we go in there, and I think Cody was actually because he's not he's not a huge drinker or anything like that, consummate professional, and I think he'd driven, and he had this. His old man's a plumber, and he runs his old man's Waitman plumbing van down the beach, like, and that sort of thing. So he had the Waitman plumbing van sitting out the front. He goes, all right, jump in, we'll get some silver, we'll go back. Yeah, okay. So I go in there with my girlfriend at the time, and she was sort of smaller and more nimble. She's like, oh, all right, you sort of try and weasel your way through here and sort something out. I'll just hold the fort at the back here, just sort of standing there. Anyway. As that happened, like these three girls walked in and started pushing in front of some people. And to be fair, my missus she didn't like push her way to the front. Like she'd sort of got in and then like lined up, and it was all above board. But yeah, these three girls start pushing in front, and obviously just shut up, mate. Just don't say anything. But again, we'd had a bit of a nudge. So I just said something along the lines of, with all due respect, I'm not sure if pushing in the line here's the way to go.
I wonder if you said it that politely.
I'm told that's what they said, and it was very, and they weren't stoked with the feedback, and they sort of started. So we had a little bit of a back and forth, and the three of them, and like there's like 60 people in here, and like down there, like everyone knows each other. So like one of my cricket coaches in there, there are a few other people in there, and they'll look at each other and they go, "Get him out! Get him out! Get him out."
To you.
To me. And they're like staring at me and pointing at me. And then like 3 becomes 5, 5 becomes 10, 10 becomes 20. And the entire SUV shop of like 60 people, including the people behind the jump that were making the SUVs, are saying, "Get him out, get him." And I look to the front and my girlfriend's going, "Get him." Oh no.
Didn't realise who she was pointing at.
And I'm standing there going, I've gone Jordan Belfort. I'm not leaving. Yeah. I'm not fucking leaving. And I think I might have started like flicking some switches or something like that. And I was really going, I'm not getting out of here. And eventually we got ourselves, and they said, "Look, don't think you should. Maybe you should." And I'd done nothing wrong, but they were like, "Look, get your food and get out of here, lads." And that was I never wanted to go back. So
and that's the last time you ever go in there?
Well, I went back in about 2 years later, very sheepishly, and it was all good. But yeah, it was a bit of at least what I perceived to be a temporary ban. I never wanted to go back. So, and then the next morning we all got up and just couldn't stop laughing about the whole situation, so and ended up making some of our great mates that night. But
well, at least it wasn't Hotel Sereno or the MCC or anything. It could have been worse. So
that's a good point, actually. That would have been the Conti or something like that. Yeah.
The Sil shop, arguably
still around,
equally as big a disaster though. But who doesn't have a little Sil after a night out? But yeah.
We all do. Well, mate, that's a great story. We've got some presents for you, courtesy of Rex, that we'll give you after the show. But now it's time for probably the best part of the show, which is a Dawson Goodie Bag, as our way of saying thank you for coming on the show. So, what are you bringing out first, Sammy? And might be milk. Sup. You're going to bring out Sup
You're going to bring out Sup. Well, shout out to Sup Supplements.
Yes. You had some this morning, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I hit the gym this morning and had a bit of the creatine. But Sup Supplements, they're leading the way in all things high-performance gummies. So talking creatine, L-carnitine, a bit of shredding there, BCAAs, bit of pre-workout as well. If you love the gym, you get in the gym, bit of exercise.
Jeez, mate, after this, I'll have to.
Well, there we go.
They've got me on board.
Just be careful, because they taste like lollies and you can get hooked quite easy eating them. So
the creatine gummies, okay.
How good is that? Sup Supplements are hooking Xander up there. So head to supsupplements.com, use the code DawsonD for 20% off everyone.
30%.
30%. There you go.
And there's a little thing on the front of the cover that says Huster, I don't know the exact terminology.
Huster approved.
Huster approved, which means that if you are an elite athlete, it's done all the testing and you can play on the weekends.
So if I was going to run out onto the MCG, I could have
You're fine.
Yeah, you're laughing.
Asada and Wada and all those guys would be absolutely fine with it. So who's next, Sammy? Milkman.
We got the Milkman.
Oh my God, here we go.
So Milkman Australia. Now
feels like Christmas here.
Now this one I reckon fits the bill. For
yes,
Xander.
this fits Xander's.
So Milkman, they're the premium product for all things male grooming. So everything you need from.
What's this for me in particular?
I'm thinking because you're front and center on the camera, mate. So they do everything from body wash to beard oil to aftershave cologne to deodorant as well. They've got a
I actually
nice-
love that body. I use that body wash at the moment. It
Same.
actually smells really good.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy it.
So I think we've got a natural deodorant in there, and then we've also got the Boozy body wash.
Yes.
Which makes you smell nice and fresh.
Beard oil.
With the beard oil as well.
Yeah.
But head to milkmanaustralia.com. Use the code DawsonD for 20%.
That might come in handy one day, mate, if you just got to run to the news. You need to just a quick little sharpen up.
You
You
might.
might just
Yeah.
have it in the
Keep that in
car
the
or
back of
something.
the-
Yeah.
Mate,
Back
you
of the
always,
car.
always need something to,
Yeah.
a
We
little
told
go
your
bag.
mate Tommy Morris the same thing. So what's next? Russell Athletic in Mitch Dowd. So now we're going to. Now I'm repping it as we speak. I'm repping the Russell Athletic. So our good friends at Russell Athletic, they.
Can't even see his head. That's how big the
That's
bag
a
is.
big- it's
That's
a big-
how much I've been looked after you. I can't even hold it all.
We'd love to know what's inside there, mate, because
Mate.
they look after the guests.
We've got
Got some
a lot-
socks.
You can never have enough socks.
Lovely.
No.
I'll go well with the boots.
Well, they're the
Always.
Mitch Dowd. So Russell Athletic
We've got some
own
Mitch Dowd as well.
Yeah.
My actually, a couple of my mates that play VAFA at Old Melburnians. Their
Yep.
player sponsor was Mitch Dowd. So
Oh,
whoever
right.
runs whoever runs Mitch Dowd is down at my local footy club. So
Comfy bamboo undies, mate. And then, of course, everyone knows Russell Athletic. They've been around since Adam was a boy.
The jumper.
Yeah, that's
Jeez.
there might be a quarter zip in there too. I think they've sent you home with some pajamas too, mate. But we
Mate,
do
there
want
we
to
go. The
say
pajama bottoms as well with
there
the
you go,
koalas.
mate. They look after you, especially in the winter. So if any of the
How
Dawson D viewers want to jump on Russell Athletic or Mitch Dowd, if you need socks or jocks, hit Mitch Dowd. If you want your trackies or anything like that, hit Russell Athletic. Use the code DawsonD40 for 40% off. Can you believe that, Xander?
40% off.
They're giving it away. I know. It's
Unbelievable.
insane.
Have you got your PJ pants? Have you?
I don't have PJs, but I'm wearing the Russell right now.
Yep.
Actually, it fits kind of your brother, the kind of American look. I feel. It's an American company. So,
Yep.
and then finally we've got bring them in. We've got some more for you off air, mate. But this is a brand new partner of ours.
Wow.
So
Here we go. Okay.
after you finish the news tonight, mate, and you get home and you just
Yeah.
want to wind down, that's Tommy's. Now,
Tommy's.
our friends from Tommy's are sending you home with a taste of Italian summer.
Yep.
All made here in Melbourne. Now, your nonna is going to absolutely love this stuff. They promise us.
Will she?
Your nonna.
Man, I've got a great vodka mixer here.
Yeah, mate. That's it. Oh, they are beautiful. I've
Yeah.
taken-
Mandarin spritz.
I had the
flavour.
Mandarin
Yeah.
on the weekends.
1.4 standards.
Yeah.
Might get myself kicked
Nice
out of a
and
few more
strong.
silver joints.
Well, we've got some more flavours for you coming out later, but we want to say big thank you to Tommy's. Now, I
Yeah.
don't know if you know, are you familiar with Chapel Street, Xander?
Yes, I am.
Do you know,
yeah.
have you been to Freddy's before? Freddy's Pizza.
No, I haven't.
Well, check them out. Freddy's is in the middle of Chapel Street. They're the owners of Tommy's too. So Freddy's have been around for a few years.
Yeah.
But now Tommy's are taking over in the game there. And of course, if you want 10% off your Tommy's booze, and trust me, guys, they taste delicious. Just use the code Tommy's01 for that.
I mean, if it wasn't in the middle of like a midday on a Monday, if it was say a bit later, we might have been able to crack a couple actually. Right
I put
now,
down
but,
too many in the week and I was feeling it. All right, what's next? And then finally, just to wrap things up, we've got the Dawson D
unreal.
tote bag, mate. So you
Thank
can
you.
put everything in, that can all fit nicely in your car. There's our friends Fleet Plan Hire Solutions who are our naming right partners. They've sent you home with some golf accessories,
unreal.
mate. So if you play golf, there's a glove, a towel, balls, tees, everything to look after you. But we just need to say a big thank you to our partners because without them, this show isn't possible. So we say thank you to all of them.
No, absolutely, mate. I was at the University of St Andrews for 6 months.
Of course.
Got around the old course 15
you?
times.
15.
Attended 20 classes, so almost had the 1-to-1 ratio going on there. So now I'm into my golf. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
beautiful.
Beauty, mate.
I can't believe how much stuff we give away these days.
Yeah, well, we're just, it's a Sunday footy show style.
I
isn't
know,
it?
we've stolen it from someone,
we did
you
steal
know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, mate, thank you so much. We thank you, of course, to our partners, guys. Make sure you get around them. But thank you to you, Xander. We know, like you said, it's the middle of, as Dos said, it's the middle of a Monday and you're busy. It's footy season, so we appreciate you taking the time and just love chatting and connecting, mate. So thank you.
No, thanks for having me, boys. It was good fun.
Awesome.
And you're doing great things. So we can't wait to watch you continue to rise.
Beauty.